Procrastination. I love playing Civilization. It is by far the best game of all time. Part of the reason it's so successful is because of the infamous one last turn dilemma that every player experiences, where they tell themselves they will only play for one more turn until it's 4 in the morning and their paper is due in 3 hours. Procrastination is probably something you do often because you would much rather spend your time doing something more fun and stimulating rather than the things you need to do. We always forget that fun things we enjoy doing become significantly less fun when that's the only thing we do. And on top of that, the stress that builds up from putting things off overwhelms the enjoyment we get from things like video games. So to solve these two problems, simply do the hard work now and delay the gratification for later. Analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis is when you overthink and excessively analyze every option you have in a situation, but never come to a decision. This is also known as indecisiveness. You become so obsessed with 30 different things you could do, but it clouds your judgment and makes you unconfident in picking something and going with it. The best way to overcome this is to simply narrow down your options to 3 or 4 of the most viable ones, and selecting the one that is the most appealing to you. Negative self-talk. Ever feel like you have voices in your head telling you, I can't do anything right, or that you're a failure? That's the devil talking to you. And the intention behind this is for you to feel so demoralized and defeated that you give up fighting it and waste your time instead. If these thoughts continue to go unchallenged, you will fall farther down a pit of eventual self-destruction, and it will be harder to escape the cycle. Now, I'm completely aware of how extreme I'm making this sound, but it's 100% true that negative self-talk should be addressed every time you experience it. The good thing is that everyone faces negative self-talk, and it's a well-documented daily battle that you don't have to fight alone. Talk to your friends about it, while also reframing this negative talk into a motivational pep talk, as if your mind is an arrogance bully that you aren't going to let win. Fear of failure. The fear of failure is the same feeling I have right now working on this video, wondering if it's going to bomb or not, or wondering whether you will subscribe to this channel. Okay, come on, that was a decent plug, you have to admit, but seriously though, the fear of failure is that intense anxiety you have of making decisions and facing major setbacks. You fear failure because you don't want to lose all of the potential time you might invest in something, so you end up never starting because you don't want to take that risk. Really, the fear of failure is the fear of taking risks, but taking risks is a necessary action you will have to perform many times in your life. The reality is that I could pull up 5,000 quotes from successful men throughout history who explain why failure is needed in your life, because it's only through failure that you develop skills and money. Ultimately, what it comes down to is realizing that nobody obtains what they want quickly, and any time invested into something skillful and meaningful is good time spent. After all, what else are you going to do? Sit around and fantasize about what your life could be instead? Fear of success. Having the fear of failure might make sense for some people, but other people instead fear success, because success brings higher expectations and standards that some people are worried they won't be able to live up to. Success also brings change, and change is something everybody in the world worries about. Normally, success and winning in life comes after a long period of time and hard work, and people naturally adapt to their slowly evolving environments through that time without even thinking about it. However, some professions, like entertainment, are given to people instantly who are incredibly young, and they don't realize how transformative this success and fame is until it's too late. Imagine you are just some drunk girl at a bar, and someone comes up to interview you. The next day, you're a viral meme that half the planet has seen, and now the entire country you live in knows who you are and is judging you, when you didn't ask for this lifestyle. Some people handle this better than others, but the amount of celebrity and internet horror stories that have resulted from viral and quick success make a large portion of people fear success and view it as some form of evil. The thing you have to remember is that these people are outliers, and as long as you stay true to yourself and surround yourself with good people, success is not something you should worry about. Tunnel vision. Tunnel vision refers to a narrowed focus where a person becomes overly fixated on a single aspect of a situation, ignoring broader perspectives or other important details. Let's say you are studying for an exam, and you focus 100% of your time on memorizing facts instead of understanding the underlying concept. and as a result, you fail. Or let's say you're a game developer who is focused on making really good graphics for your video game, but spends almost no time fixing bugs, resulting in poor reviews of the game. Tunnel vision can be solved by simply listening to a wide variety of other perspectives, so that you understand the bigger picture. Seeking feedback from other people is the best way to address problem solving. Rigid thinking. Imagine you just invented a new product that could help millions of people's lives. Now, the challenge you are facing is getting the proper funding so that you can produce advertisements and make people aware of your invention. You could advertise your product for free using TikTok or Instagram Reels. But let's say you have rigid thinking. You don't like TikTok because you think the app is for idiots, and you are better than them. Rigid thinking is preventing you from solving the problem that you are in, and it's when people refuse to consider or adopt new methods or perspectives because they only like doing or thinking their way. This type of thinking can lead to difficulty in problem solving, creativity, and even interpersonal relationships because it limits one's ability to consider alternative viewpoints and solutions. Fear of rejection. If you fear rejection, it's most likely because you want to fit in with the crowd and be the guy that everyone likes. Unfortunately, being a people pleaser is much worse than being rejected by a specific group of people, because when you try to make everyone around you happy, you'll find over time that people will grow to resent you and think that you are fake. Because the reality is, it's impossible to get everyone to like you. People who fear rejection don't want to be turned down or criticized or excluded, so they often avoid situations where that can even happen. They might not apply for a certain job because it would be too humiliating to get declined. They don't want to ask that girl out because if she says no, it will be devastating to their self-worth. The solution to this is building up your own self-confidence by setting small, realistic goals and completing them. Identify your strength and play to your talents. And finally, get used to rejection. When you meet new people, don't be afraid to share your most controversial opinions with them. That way you can quickly filter out the people who aren't accepting of you, instead of anxiously worrying for months if your new friends will grow to resent you or not. Perfectionism. If you are a perfectionist, you set incredibly high standards for yourself that you are not capable of achieving. So you end up never getting anything done because it's not good enough in your mind. Perfectionism is a mental poison, and if that affects you, you need to sacrifice your ego and embrace the mistakes that you will make, realizing that mistakes are how you learn and improve whatever it is that you are doing. By shifting your perspective, you can actually end up producing work that is much closer to perfection than you were previously able. Writer's block. Writer's block is simply when you are at an all-time creative slowdown and you can't think of anything to write or say. Several things can cause writer's block, but the way to overcome it usually comes down to taking a brief break. Go outside and take a walk. Touch some grass. Because walking can allow your mind to feel relaxed, but also generate new ideas simultaneously. Or change the environment you're working in. Go to a cafe or work outside. If all else fails, instead of relying on your blocked brain, talk to your friends and gather ideas from them. Being overwhelmed. Sometimes on days when you are extremely busy, you feel overwhelmed because your mind can't possibly comprehend how it's all going to get done. This results in you being more obsessed with the sheer volume of work that you have to do, resulting in a lack of focus that drowns you even more. Instead of this, create a schedule where you map out every essential thing that needs to get done each day. That way you have a clear view of what needs to get done and when it needs to get done. When you have a plan, it becomes much easier to focus. Fear of change. Fear of change is the anxiety you feel when faced with the prospect of change. Whether you are switching jobs, a relationship is coming to an end, or your friend is moving across the country. Fear of change is simply when the status quo that you are comfortable in is disrupted and becomes different. Often these fears are entirely made up nonsense, so acknowledging and challenging them are great first steps you can take to overcome them. Mental fatigue. Even if you are the most disciplined, focused person in the world and you have strong motivation to get things done, you can still fall victim to mental fatigue, a state of exhaustion that occurs when your brain is overworked, leading to reduced performance and difficulty concentrating. This is mostly caused by overworking, and it's a reminder that it's okay to take a break. To avoid mental fatigue, go to sleep every night at the same time and try to get 8 hours of sleep. Also, make sure to take regular short breaks during the day while you're working. Engage in physical exercise, stay hydrated, and eat well. Develop creative and fun hobbies that you can enjoy doing after work. Overthinking. Do you ever feel like your mind is racing with 20 different ideas at once, almost like a sound of annoying static? Overthinking is the habit of dwelling on thoughts, decisions, or situations you are in. You're constantly replaying conversations and events from the past, while at the same time worrying about worst-case scenarios or potential problems you could face in the future. Neither of these things are helpful. In fact, they are complete wastes of time. You must recognize that negative past experiences can lead you to overthinking future scenarios, and that ultimately, this is just noise that your brain is generating to prevent you from living in the present, the most important time period. Imposter Syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the psychological pattern where you doubt your own accomplishments and have the persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite there being clear evidence of your competence and achievements. You feel like you don't deserve success and worry other people will start to feel the same way. If you feel this way, you need to challenge your thoughts and ask yourself if there is really any evidence that you have a fraudulent personality. Monitor and keep track of your achievements, and stop comparing yourself to other people. Instead, measure yourself against your own standards. Emotional baggage. Emotional baggage refers to unresolved feelings or past traumas and negative experiences that still impact your current day behavior and relationships. Acknowledging and accepting that you have emotional baggage is the first step. After this, professional counseling and therapy can help process these past experiences and understand their impact. Then, you can develop healthier coping mechanisms. Having a solid support system of friends and family around you helps you focus on the present instead of the past.